they kind of had to push themselves into it, but then they found a lot of traction in that, and before too long, maybe even after a few months, they came back to me and they're like, I'm devouring everything I can get my hands on. Like, this is this is now a part of my journey. So yeah, I'm
Yeah.
putting that on learning.
Well, and one of the questions we ask usually at this stage in the interview, we ask, what's the last thing you learned? And we pay attention to what people say. And we get all kinds of answers, but that's a very important question to kind of understand if they're a continuous learner and putting
Yeah. I'm ready to make this relationship official. Like, let's go, let's move this. And he gave me a big smile and he said, we knew you were the right guy for the job. We'll get an offer out to you later today.
So this is where my wisdom dropping is. It's like, did you see what he did? So he closed the interviewer, which is something that I highly recommend to do all the time. If you want the job, say it. Do what Ben is doing. I mean, I'm just getting goosebumps all over. Like, it's so rare when people actually do it, and the fact that you did it, now it makes sense why you got promoted there 5 times. Adam and I talked last week about how important it is as a leader to understand what your people's goals are and motivation is, because no one is going to care about your company's goals if you don't really care about their goals. And that's something I feel like a lot of people miss in the interview process, is understanding like what's driving this person. So did you, when you applied for the job, I bet you didn't know, or maybe you did, that you wanted to become one of the sales leaders there? Like, what was your, how did your goals evolve when you started and as you sort of continued to grow and evolve in the company personally?
You know, it's true. I mean, a lot of times we just have to get underneath the hood to really understand what we're working with. And then we have to shape a plan around that. We have to set goals and then build a plan around those goals. You know, my goals always change and evolve. In fact, I had a really very talented CEO say one time that, you know, they don't believe at all in like long-term goal setting or long-term planning. Like he said, you can set goals, but there's so many things that are going to change between now and then.
Right.
Like, so we did more quarterly planning, and half-year planning.
But you
planning.
personally had a goal to be a sales leader at some point in your career. So it wasn't your goal,
Well,
personal goals.
it's interesting because the thing that has been my core and has always driven me is just to do things with excellence. And so my thing, whether I was crawling in a dirty attic working on HVAC systems with the engineering company I was working with in high school and college, or whether I was meeting with chairmans of large companies in Washington, D.C. on Capitol Hill, or whether I was sitting down to make cold calls, I just wanted to do it well and with excellence. And I've always wanted the things that I produce and the way that I serve people to go out and to do that well, and putting in the work in order to go out and execute on those things. And so when I got in, it was kind of more, I want to conduct myself with excellence, and I can do that at this point in time in this organization, and given these set of challenges, the best avenue in which to go and do that is through being a sales manager.
Right.
Does that make,
okay.
Am I explaining that okay?
So your North Star was, I want to do whatever I can with excellence. And as you got in and started seeing gaps, opportunities, you a lot of other puzzle things start coming together. So
yeah, because I wrote the plan. I wrote the plan more for the business to understand the gaps in the way that we could grow. And I wanted to execute it, but I gave them the plan so that they would be aware that was going on.
And then they're like, "Oh, well, you're the perfect person. Go do this."
Yeah, and that, yeah, that's right. And so, just leading with everything that we can have, everything that we've got. And I have to tell my teams and my kids and my girlfriend and, you know, my family members, whoever it may be, that look, you can always be confident that I'm going to give you everything that I have. Some days my battery is going to be 25%.
Mhm.
And so, you know, what I'm giving you may not be awesome, but you can be confident that I'm giving you everything that I have. If I've got 25% battery left, I'm giving you the 25%. If I've got 100% battery, I'm giving you 100%. And that's carried through in my career as well, to be driven by that excellence, and then basically looking for avenues, given the time, the business, the industry, the particular, you know, dynamics that are going on at that moment. What is the best avenue to serve the customer's organization, the people, with excellence? And then whatever that may look like, if we put a title to it or a name to it, whether it's sales manager or you know, senior vice president or CRO. I've held all those titles, or
Mhm.
you know, somebody to sweep the floor, whatever it may
Right.
be. Do it with.
So another quick little tip: always look for somebody who takes initiative, right? So clearly, Ben is somebody like that, and he's always been like that. From my personal experience too, he does take initiative, and that's something
Mhm.
important. Those are other questions I like to ask in the interview about initiative, because it's, as Jay Papasan, the writer of The One Thing, he said, he would rather have people that he says, whoa, than giddy up, right? So kind of like with the horse,
100% agree.
because it's a lot easier to lead somebody when you're trying to like slow them down versus like constantly, let's go, do this, do that. As you noticed, as I was interviewing, you know, Ben, and I asked him about numbers, and you know, I respectively said, if you don't have to tell me all the numbers, but I want percentages if you can share that. So that's what true performers, they want to talk about the accomplishments. And some people confident,
Yes.
they can't disclose exact numbers to you, and you shouldn't coerce them to do that, but they will always be happy to talk about percentages or some kind of improvements that they've done. So always look out for that, because look at Ben. He was able to share the story without specific details, but he was still able to communicate his performance and the team's performance without revealing everything. Because at the end of the day, you want somebody who's not vague, but more specific. So that's what I want you guys to start learning and training yourself, is to look for that in your candidate, not somebody who just talks about, you know, pie in the sky without any kind of specific